As promised on Core of the Rings last Friday, we now finally have the developer's diary for the Delvings update. In this diary, that's posted by Cordovan, but it's actually by Myth. So I'm guessing Myth is one of the main developers with the Delvings. In this diary, we get an update on the plans for Delvings for update 35. So I thought I would just take people through this and break it down. Developer's Diary Delvings Update. Hi, I'm Myth, one of the system designers working on the next update to the Delving system. I want to share more about how we see the current state of Delvings and what we are planning for Return to Karn Doom, which is update 35. These changes break down into the following categories I'll be discussing. So these 4 categories are the things that will be discussed in this diary. General balance adjustments. Lowering health, damage, and alert difficulty modifiers for enemies across mid to high difficulty tiers. So we're getting some balancing to these Delvings. Lower health, lower damage, and the alert difficulty will be lessened. Malices changes, new Malices, adjustments to existing Malices, and a faster Malice rotation. So Malices, for those who don't know, are the effects that you will see inside the Delvings. Delving Gem Consolidation, fewer gems for more inventory space. We're gonna get less gems to work with. Reward updates, more choice, better rewards, and removing the worst rewards. Sounds good to me. Alright, let's start off with the general balance adjustments. We are lowering the damage and health difficulty modifiers of enemies, particularly in tiers 5 through 10. So just a heads up, tiers are increasing. Tier 12 will be the highest tier. While we want Delvings to be challenging, the general difficulty in mid to high tiers ended up higher than we would like. We are also decreasing the alert range of enemies at higher tiers. Enemies have a perception and call for help radius that activates other enemies in the area once alerted, and these radius effects are currently too large, resulting in a mob cascade as nearer enemies alert mobs further away. We want careful pulling to be an important skill to execute, so we will be lowering the size of these radius effects. So basically what they're looking to do, when you enter a Delving, you select your difficulty, and when you enter the space, you activate the mobs. As you can see, this turtle just pulled out of nowhere. I was like pretty far away, and they're looking to actually increase the let me just wipe here. So what they're looking to do with tiers 5 through 10 especially, enemies will have less morale, they will deal less damage, and like I said, the radius for me to activate this mob will be less, which is good because currently whenever you pull something and there's something nearby, they just all come at you. So they're gonna decrease the range for the enemy to detect you, and also when this enemy detects you, they have this call for help radius. So say this guy notices me and his call for help radius is pretty large, he'll pull like everyone within his radius. But I'm gonna try again to get close to this guy and see when he notices me. Yeah, I'm pretty far away, he's just coming at me. That's pretty annoying. So this range and also the call for help range is going to be reduced with these balance changes. Next up, we have the Malice Changes. We will be shifting the rotation of Malices from a weekly to a daily schedule and adding a 6th variant. This will increase variety and ensure that if you're struggling with today's combination, you can get a different experience the next day. We are also reorganizing Malices by type and only putting one of each type into each variant per band. This prevents you from encountering more than one damaging hotspot, for example, regardless of the combination that day. And if we scroll down a bit further, we have this spreadsheet. They're showing all the tiers, the Malice type, and which variants you're getting. So all of these variants are going to rotate every day, which means the effects will no longer change weekly, but rather every day. So if you have one effect one day, the next day you're going to get a new effect, the next day another new effect, and so on. So on this spreadsheet, we can see all the effects and all the variants. You'll also notice at the bottom, they added new tiers, tier 11 and tier 12. Basically, the tier 10 currently will be the new tier 12, so tier 12 should feel like tier 10, but a little bit harder. There's also new Malices on tier 12, as you can see. Tier 11 adds no new Malices, but it increases the damage and health of the mobs, while tier 12 adds the extra effects. So hopefully tier 12 will give us more writs, we don't know that yet, but basically they thought the difficulty increase was too steep from tier 5 up to 10, so they decided to increase the amount of tiers by 2 to make the increase feel a bit better for each tier. So with update 35, we're getting 12 tiers and increase by 2. We are adding in new Malices that give you the ability to counter their effects, something we call strong counterplay in the game design space. We will be adding epic monster skills. These are powerful but slow induction enemy Malice skills. Only one attacking enemy will be able to use these skills over the Malice skills cooldown. That enemy will glow and you can interrupt its induction. If you don't, the skill will complete. So basically epic monster skills are inductions, long inductions, as you can see from the spreadsheet, tier 5. The epic monster skills, all of these, Sauron's Wrath, Blessing, Ire, Army, etc. They shouldn't be too hard to counter. At least they're giving us some counterplay. So make sure you get that long interrupt. Cursed hotspots. These hotspots are cast by enemies on themselves to heal, do more damage, and get other benefits. You will need to move the enemy from its location to lose the effect. So basically the enemy will drop hotspots underground, buffing their damage, other benefits, healing themselves. You just have to move the enemies out of that hotspot. And as you can see from tier 10, we have the cursed hotspots with the different variations. We are replacing or reworking some Malices, particularly at mid to low tiers that do not have strong counterplay. Note that some higher tier Malices like Vengeance or Hydra are not intended to be directly countered. We will also do a balance pass on some Malices like Firestorm, which will be made weaker than it currently is. So basically we're getting somewhat of a Malice rework, giving us a bit more counterplay, and hopefully it won't be too awful. Some of these Malices currently just feels awful to play against, especially as a melee class. They can be really awful to deal with. Delving Gem Consolidation. We are reducing the number and kind of gems the delving system requires. We'll have 4 gems that can be used across 12 tiers, with each gem unlocking 3 levels of delvings. So the first gem will be 1 to 3, the second will be 4 to 6, the third will be 7 to 9, and the fourth will be 10 to 12. Gems will also no longer have cracked versions, and players will get the next gem when they successfully complete a delving. You'll get 2 gems when you are on the edge of bands, like 3 and 6, to get the current and the next band's gems. Reminder that gems are unique, so you won't get a second gem if you already have one. If you fail a delving, you'll need to either buy a gem for coin or repeat the previous tier to get the next gem. The prices remain low to keep the purchase process painless. All current gems will be sellable, so you can get coins for extra gems. And this footage is from the last beta test that we had. And as you can see, we have 4 types of delving stones. First one is tiers 1 to 3. Then tiers 4 to 6, and 7 to 9, and 10 to 12. So what this means, if you want to do a tier 1 delving, you just get the delving circle. If you want to do a tier 2, same thing. If you want to do tier 3, same thing. And every time you complete a delving, you get the same stone, the same tier back. But if you complete a tier at the highest of that stone, for example complete tier 3, you will get the tier 1 to 3 stone back, but you will also get the next tier stone. And if you were to complete a tier 6, you would get this back, but also get a tier 7 to 9 stone. Basically, if you complete the first 2 tiers of the stone, so 1 and 2 for this one, or 4 or 5 for this one, you will just be getting this stone back. If you complete the last tier on each stone, so 3, 6, 9, you will then get 2 stones, the current one and the next tier band. The only exception would be 12, because there's no additional tier. You would then just get a tier 10 to 12 gem back. But completing the last tier of each of these would give the gem back, and also 1 gem of the next tier if you wish to attempt that. And finally we have the reward updates. We hear you about wanting more delving writs more quickly. We will be adding 2 weekly quests to delvings. 1 to complete a certain number of Delvings at any tier, and 1 to complete a smaller number of Delvings on tier 6 or higher. The rewards for these quests will be Virtue XP and Delving Writs. And once again, footage from my last beta report. As you can see from Baglan at Andreth, the Delve Deeper Weekly gives the current rewards 250 Writs and 1000 Virtue XP for completing any tier of Delvings 15 times. The other one, complete high tier Delvings tier 6 and higher 10 times in a week. Same rewards, 250 Writs and 1000 Virtue XP. Basically, increasing your writ gain by 500 per week and also giving you an extra 2000 Virtue XP per week if you complete these weeklies. We are also adding our first instances to Delvings with the introduction of the school at Tam Mirdine and the library at Tam Mirdine. These instances will also have a small chance at a second rare Delving box with rare rewards, with higher tiers having a better chance at getting the rare Delving box. And this is also footage from the first beta test that I did, where I actually tried out school at Tam Mirdine. So as people know, library and school are both 3-mans, and as you can see when I entered, you could then select the tier, and then it's basically an instance with Delving mechanics, whatever the Malices are. Still complete this normally. At the end though, on this beta test, the rewards we got pretty disappointing. I went back to Baglan, I picked up the reward. You just basically get the same reward, 50 writs, and it's just like a normal Delving box reward. But on that first beta test, they did not have that rare chance of a second box. So the rare Delving box with the rare rewards, it depends what these rewards are. I suspect it's a box where you can select like the cloak and necklace item upgrades. And it all depends on the chance of this box dropping to see if it's worth running this. But in any case, it's another way to earn some writs. If you want to play with a couple of friends, you can now run 3-man, school and library at first. We've also heard you about getting lower level rewards at higher tiers, so we've eliminated the worst individual rewards from the tier 7 to 10 band and replaced random crafting boxes with a crafting picker box. We will also be removing the rotten fruit and lumps of coal from treasure tables throughout. So I believe this change is already in the game. You now get a selection box where you can select crafting rewards from any tier that you prefer. And they also remove the rotten fruit and the lumps of coal. Thank you for reading. We knew Delvings were an ambitious system when we launched it with Before the Shadow, and we knew it will take time to build, tweak, and adapt this system for the live game once players began using it. That's where you come in. What have you liked and disliked about Delvings? What has been your experience running Delvings? Let us know in the comments. Thanks. Myth Systems Team, The Lord of the Rings Online. So, what is my opinion about Delvings? I actually don't mind Delvings as an alternate way to gear. I like that you have to do Delvings to get some of the best in slot gear, but it's not overwhelming. I do agree with people that you're earning writs a bit too slowly, and hopefully the weeklies will help a bit with that. Some of these Malice types are just awful to play against, especially in a lot of cases for melee classes. Like the best way to do this is just to bring a hunter and pew pew, kill them before they reach you. But hopefully this balancing they're doing to the Malices will make it a bit more bearable. I do like that they're reducing the amount of clutter with all the stones, and hopefully running school and library will not be too low of a chance to get that second rare box. So overall, I think these changes look promising, but we'll still have to see when this goes live to see if the Delvings feel better than they currently are. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to help out the channel, leave a like, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're playing or looking to play Lord of the Rings online, there is one place you need to be. The Ghyniverse! The Ghyniverse is a community Discord server for the game Lord of the Rings Online. In this server, you'll find anything from giveaways. There's also a frequently asked questions channel that I would recommend checking out first. You'll be able to see when I put out new YouTube videos, whenever I stream. You can also ask for the streamer role, and you'll be able to post your own streams in this server for everyone to see. There's currently over 5,000 members in this Discord and it keeps growing. You will also find discussion channels about the game, LOTRO. You can ask any questions in the help channel. There's discussions for every single class in the game and PvP. But one of the best things about this server is the best in slot items section. In this section you can find trait lines for every single class. You will find screenshots of the current best gear being displayed. In this channel you'll find charts showing what stats you need for your characters, mitigations, mastery crit, finesse, but you'll also find useful information about drop rates in different instances. I hope you will consider joining my server, and maybe one day I'll see you in Middle Earth.